What is going on, everybody? It is time for TNA Impact Wrestling review for 417. 15 happened yesterday if you're watching on Saturday, and if you're not, it happened whenever it happened. So, yes, I did get a little sunburnt, just chilling outside for like 15 minutes. It's okay, though. I'm still here for you guys. Yes, it hurts, but it's fine. Let's get into TNA, though. We had some nice things going on, so let's get into TNA. We got a video package on basically kind of the state of the tag team titles. Um, I like this video package because it used a lot more of like older footage, but it still kind of showed future footage. But I like that it used less of it. It's like it seems like they're kind of coming around with that just a little bit, slowly and slowly. So I kind of liked it. Any thoughts on the video package to start the show?
It just kind of, for me, just set up the show, reminded you what happened. If you happened to miss last week, the Wolves had to, give up the titles and there's going to be a tournament, kind of, reminded us a little bit, that there is a tag team division. Because it almost felt like for a while there, it just got so bland that it was like, oh, who's the tag team champions? Oh, it's the Wolves. Yeah. Who do they have to compete against? The Wolves. Um, so it's just kind of, I think for TNA, it was almost, and getting a little off of the video package itself. I feel like, it sucks that Eddie got hurt. You never want to see somebody get injured, especially a serious injury like that. But I feel like it was almost a blessing for TNA because it kind of, forces them to kind of revisit their tag team division and revamp it a little bit, um, because for a while there it was kind of lacking, and it still kind of is, but at least we got a tournament out of it.
Yeah, I agree. We even got some like debuts and stuff too, or at least one debut tonight. So maybe that'll end up being a tag team too. But we'll get to that when we get to it. We got the Revolution, which is Koya and James Storm going up against the Hardys. Basically, the Revolution attacked early, like they tend to do. The Hardys take control, but Storm uses everyone's replica belt to try to get his advantage going. They kind of ground Matt a little bit, corner Matt a little bit. We get I think they call it the wind blower, and the clothesline combo by the Revolution. Nice tag team moves there by Koya and James Storm. Get the side effects by Matt. Gets Jeff in with the hot tag. The last call catches Koya by accident. We get the extreme combination by the Hardys for the win. After the match, James Storm was not happy, and then we got a little interview with Jeff and Matt. Basically, Jeff is saying it's been a while, it's been over 8 years. Matt comes back and he says it's time for the Hardys to fulfill their destiny and win the tag team titles. And the fans chant Hardys, Hardys, as I think Jeff tried to start another chant again. Not listening to Casey yet, but eventually he's going to start. But I thought this match it was pretty good. There was some good tag team work between Koya and James Storm, but I think it's really short-lived considering James Storm is getting mad at everyone he ever loses with, even when it is his fault. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with these. There was a lot of tag teams that just kind of didn't mesh. As far as not that they weren't good in the ring, but like afterwards when they lost, they weren't happy. So as far as rebuilding the tag team division, they're gonna. It's like they're bringing up more tag teams, but rebuilding other tag teams. So any thoughts on the Hardys versus Koya? Versus Koya and James Storm? Just Koya.
Just Koya, just Koya. This opening match kind of threw me off because I figured I was 90% sure that TNA was finally going to give the Hardys the titles. But at the same time, I thought that the Revolution would at least advance to the Ultimate X match. I didn't think they would get eliminated, the first round. But things that happened later on kind of made that make a little bit more sense. But it was just surprising to me. But it was a great match, though. It wasn't the best match I've seen from either team. But it was a good match. Also, I did see the kid with the colored mohawk in the crowd again. So This kid must come back to like every show. I don't know. I know it is down at Universal again, so he could be on vacation, but I keep seeing him every time. Kind of annoying now because I'm like, stop. But I was happy the Hardys won. Figured it would just, like I said, it just kind of threw me off that the Revolution got kicked out or lost that early. It was like, what, why?
Yeah, I understand that. It was kind of weird to see that, but I guess they're maybe because of the Wolves injury, they're maybe breaking the Revolution up, but maybe putting some of them together in tag teams beside instead of being a big group or something. But next we got EY and he's backstage acting a little awful here. He's like, I want my title shot. I want it now. I'm the number one contender. I deserve it, and I'm gonna take it. So EY is ready for his title shot. He wants his fair and square, not circle, square title shot. So give the man his title shot, Kurt Angle. Any thoughts on the backstage segment with EY?
He does want it fair. I don't know about square, maybe a little bit rectangular. I don't know if he's a square kind of guy. He seems a little off, so I would think it would be a little bit more of like a rectangle or one of those weird shapes that I don't know the name of, but they're not squares. They're kind of weird. Geometry teachers, if you can, let me know what that is. It's kind of weird. But anyway, no, I like this interview. I'm kind of torn with EY though, because I love the fan-friendly EY, but then this kind of crazy deranged EY is cool too. So it's like I don't know which one I want more. But this was a good interview for him. He's good on the mic. I like him.
Yeah, I agree with you on the being like I don't know which one I want more because I feel like I want this one a little bit more just because we've never seen EY in like a heel role. He's been like kind of the joke and kind of like either a joke or he's been the fan favorite that wasn't necessarily a joke. And I think now he's kind of turned himself into not being a joke by being a little bit more serious. But next we get an EY promo, not backstage, but this time in the ring because he's got to address it. He's got some stuff to say, Kurt. He says, I'm not the person to be messed with. I'm not happy. Kurt Angle, you're ducking me. I don't care. You've got something I want. I'm the number one contender. I want my shot. I want you one-on-one. And then Kurt Angle comes out. Angle says, you've been talking crap to me all day through social media. The only thing social you need to do is face-to-face. EY says, I see a man who's holding something that belongs to me. I see a man who can be beaten, who can be hurt. Angle comes back and he says, you turned into a freaking lunatic, man. He said a lot of things, but that was the main thing he said. You turned into a freaking lunatic. And you have your title shot next week because I'm a fighting champion, bro. He says, you let your craziness get the best of you. EY comes back. He says, the belt is the only thing. I have a hole in me, and the belt is the only thing that can fill this void. Kurt Angle comes back and he says, I want the old EY, the EY that won the title. And that kind of gets to EY because that's what he wants. So he's like, wait a minute, now I might have to change my ways a little bit. He says, you can attack me from behind and you can be the new EY and attack me from behind. But EY kind of teases it a little bit and he says, I'll see you next week. So there we go. So any thoughts on the EY promo? Basically just setting up a World Heavyweight Championship match next week.
Yeah, it was good. Angle says he wants the old EY, so I don't think we're gonna get the old EY. But it kind of teases, does he want it enough to go back to the old EY and get his title? Because either way, he's gonna get a title shot. It's not, Angle is just that kind of guy. He's gonna give him the title shot either way. It's just, what's TNA going to decide to do? Are they going to bring him back, the good, happy EY, or is it still going to be? I still think it's going to be the kind of deranged EY, which I think is would makes a better match anyway. Because not to spoil the review, but we did get kind of a backstage brawl later on involving Angle, and it just shows a different side of Angle we haven't seen in a while. So I want to see kind of a more physical, brawl type match next week.
Yeah, Angle is really good at getting like the old out of people. He did it with Jeff Hardy. Like he changed Willow back to Jeff Hardy, and now he's gonna try to do it with EY. I don't know what it is that man says. Like, he gets the old person back pretty easily. But next we got a backstage thing with the BDC and Spud. They're kind of picking on Spud a little bit, and they're saying, you're just keeping that warm for one of us, talking about the X Division title. Anderson comes in and kind of saves the day. He says, Loki, you should smile a little bit more. And you're just upset because this guy has already beaten you twice, talking about Spud. So just basically setting up the next match that was next to come. Any thoughts on this?
I couldn't stop laughing at this, not because of the segment itself, but the fact that the past 2 days I was watching on the WWE Network, Tough Enough 1 and 2. And if you guys don't remember, Kenny King was on Tough Enough 2. So it was just kind of funny seeing where those guys are now, But it was good, it set up kind of the match. I felt like it set it up like just too late. Like it was like immediately right before the match. Like I felt like that was something that should have been set up a little bit later on, but I don't know. But it was good. I liked it.
All right. So after that, obviously, we got to have a match, right? We got the BDC versus Spudgerson or Anders Spud or something like that. Spud and Mr. Anderson. So the BDC attacks Spud before Anderson can even finish his entrance. He's on the second Anderson, and he can't stop. He's got to make sure he gets through it. So he can't save Spud yet. He's got to save him after he finishes. So they kind of get in the ring and they start to corner Spud. They're playing mind games with Spud a little bit. Spud tries to fight back, but he just gets shut down. Spud does get a roll up, but the refs are distracted by Anderson and Low Key kind of going back and forth with their words outside of on the apron. The insecurity.
You there? You're frozen. I think is he frozen? Am I frozen? I don't know. Hopefully, he'll come back. Unless I'm frozen and I'm talking to nobody. But we're going to figure this out. We haven't had technical difficulties in a while. So we're going to see how this goes. DJ, if you can hear me, can you leave and come back? Or, send me a message on Facebook and tell me to leave and come back. Or, I don't know. You're frozen, dude. You're frozen. I don't know what to do. So this is probably going to be a long, review, longer than we expected because you're frozen right now. And I don't know what to do because you are frozen. So I'm just going to wait because I can't do anything. I can't end the call. I can't end the video. I can leave and I can come back, but I don't really know how that's gonna do anything. Oh, there he's did he leave? I don't really know. What's going on right now? This is tough, ladies and gentlemen. This is tough. I hate when we have technical difficulties because it makes the video longer. It really does, and I don't want the video to be longer, and I don't know what else to talk about because he was kind of in the middle of a match talking, and I don't want to start talking about that match and then him come back and be like, I wasn't done. Cause that would suck. That would suck. So we're gonna wait. Hold on, are you there? Do, 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 do. Oh. Oh.
All right. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. Google Chrome was like, let me not respond for like 3 seconds. I had to like close the whole thing out. Google Chrome was not having it today. Where was I, or what happened?
You kind of just started the Kenny King and Low Key versus Spud and Anderson, and then you kind of froze. And I was like, oh god, what do I do? So I talked for like a good 3 minutes about nothing. So that's gonna be fun in the video.
Yeah, that improv, it's a skill. BDC versus Spud and Anderson, or Anders Spud, however you want to say it. The BDC attacks Spud before Anderson finishes his announcement. They start to corner Spud. They're playing mind games with Spud a little bit. Spud tries to fight back, but he gets shut down. We get the roll up by Spud, but the ref's back was turned because BDC and Anderson were going back and forth a little bit. The insecurity by Spud looks to get Anderson in, but Low Key is like, nah, that's not happening. Anderson throws Spud into the corner to get the tag, and then that allows Anderson to take advantage. Spud hits a helpful Hurricane Rana. Anderson throws Spud into, I think it was Kenny King, and that set up the Hurricane Rana there. So I like that. The underdog by Spud, but the ref, come on, man, do your job. Turn around. The ref does not see it again as Spud is pinning him. Low Key, it's the Warriors' way on Spud for the win. I think there was something like weird about this match or something. Like I couldn't remember what happened to Anderson that made Anderson not be in the picture when the pin happened. But I thought it was a good match. A bunch of very talented guys, I feel like, in this match. And I think that if they kept Low Key and Kenny King to the tag team, it wouldn't hurt anything. I think Low Key and Kenny King are very, very talented. I just think especially Kenny King, doesn't really get a lot of chances in the ring. So what's your thoughts on the BDC moving on instead of Spud and Anderson?
It makes sense to me a little bit. I don't see Spud and Anderson as an actual tag team. I just see them as, Anderson kind of protects Spud, or has his back. Good match though. I liked it. I loved how in the middle of the match, Anderson gets frustrated. He gets in the ring and like hip tosses Spud over to the corner to get the tag. I was like, yep, that's Anderson. But BDC did win. And it was because Low Key kind of held Anderson against the ropes so he couldn't get back in. That's what happened, that Low Key. But yeah, I'm excited. Just because Kenny King and Low Key are really talented. And going back to it again, if you guys get a chance, go on the network and watch season 2 of Tough Enough. He was even, you could see something in him back then, even and Tough Enough. I'm surprised, he didn't last in WWE, had to go to TNA, but, he's had a really good, career now. That was back in 2002 and now it's 2015. So, he's been, all over the world wrestling. So he and, like I said, Low Key are really talented. I think they're good as a tag team. I wouldn't necessarily on paper have put them together as a tag team. It wouldn't have it's not something I would have thought of, but they are pretty good together as a tag team. I knew, like I said, pretty much who they were going to give the belts to, but it made sense that Low Key and Kenny King would make it to at least the X Division title match. But.
All right. So next we got Bram and EC3 they're backstage and they say, well, EC3 says, what better way than to wet my palate and to win the TNA Tag Team titles? Tyrus is more suitable. Tyrus is more than suitable as a partner, but he's given a chance to an up and coming star in Bram. Bram comes back. He says, "I'm the most dominant. I'm gonna rip Tigre Uno's mask off," and all this jibber jabber. And then he says, EC3 comes back. He says, "Just make sure we win first." Bram says, "I just want to hurt people." So Bram's going crazy. EC3's like, "Calm down, bro. You gotta win. Come on." And Ryan's here.
And then he makes the wedding singer reference.
Oh yeah, he did. What did he say? Do you remember?
He said he's losing his mind, and I'm reaping all the benefits.
So Ryan did see that portion. He hasn't watched it all, but I know he came in at that point when I was watching it. You got any thoughts on this backstage thing? Crazy Bram and somewhat not as crazy EC3?
I was still scratching my head at why they put these two together because it makes no sense at all. I'm like, what? Why? You know, it feels like they just had an extra space and they were like, let's put these two together. Yeah, it'll work. But it made for a really kind of funny dynamic between the two. You know.
All right. So I almost forgot that I muted myself. I was going to start talking and nothing was going to come out. So next we got the BDC backstage again because they're basically a gang. They do what they want in the backstage area. Okay. So it says Homicide and MVP. I think they were all back there at this point. He says, "How is it supposed to be done? Homicide, I have a special assignment for you." So basically what they're going to do is they're going to send them with Taz and put Homicide and Taz. They're going to go on this, special assignment together. Not really. He says, he's talking about Kurt Angle. He says, "You want me to wrestle him?" MVP says, "No, I want you to fight him." And Homicide was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that." He can't wrestle him, but he can definitely fight him. Any thoughts on the BDC backstage?
Yeah, Homicide not an expert in the wrestling, but he'll fight. He will fight. It was just basically a hit on Kurt Angle. Kind of expected it, but
got that bounty on Kurt Angle. All right, so next we got Tigre Uno and Jay Rios versus EC3 and Bram. Jay Rios is obviously another guy. I know Ryan was like, came in here when I was like, because this was like the last part I watched before I went to get something to eat, and freaking, he was like, it should be Tigre Uno and Tigre Dos. Nah, it's Tigre Uno and Jay Rios. I was definitely excited though, because we don't see a lot of Tigre Uno, and this Jay Rios fellow seemed like a nice guy. So we got EC3 and Rios starting the match, what I thought was cool. Rios establishes his quick pace early. A nice dropkick combo by Tigre Uno and Jay Rios. Tigre Uno looks for the suicide dive. He kind of hesitates, but goes for a springboard. I thought that part was kind of awkward, the way he did it, but then I thought about it. I'm like, maybe he saw Tyrus. He was like, no, can't do that. Let me try anyway. So, I don't know. Who knows? Uno gets caught by Tyrus and slammed to the floor. Josh Matthews says that ended his career, but he was okay. I think he came back. Bram and EC3 bring the aggression to Tigre Uno. Rios gets back in, speeds up the match again. We get a nice springboard cutter by Rios. Shout out to John Cena for that one. He taught him that, obviously. But then we get the brighter side of suffering by Bram. EC3 tags in and pins him and picks up the win for EC3 and Bram. So I like this match. I thought it was really good. I thought when Tigre Uno and Jay Rios were in there, it was really, really fun stuff going on. I don't know what they're going to do with Bram and EC3. I don't think they're going to keep him as a tag team. I think it's just a one-time thing. But Jay Rios with the springboard cutter. It was more of an RKO style of a cutter more than a stunner. So no credit to John Cena at all, none. But I did like it. I like this match. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Jay Rios and Tigre Uno? Is Jay Rios a new person that we're gonna have? I think they could be really good. Only thing is, I think TNA is gonna draw a ton of controversy from WWE fans just because they seem a little bit like the Lucha Dragons to a certain extent. But I definitely like this match though. You got any thoughts on the Rios, the Rivers or something? And Tigre Uno and Tigre Dos versus EC3 and Bram.
This is why Ryan doesn't work for TNA or WWE. Just horrible character ideas. Horrible. But when I first saw Jay Rios come out, it looked like it was just a white guy with a mask on, and I was like, that doesn't look right. But I actually looked him up, and he has had matches in TNA before, unmasked, which, you know, would have been so much better if he was unmasked. I think the mask was kind of stupid, and it looked like it didn't fit him anyway. It just didn't look like it was his right size. They just kind of threw it on him. But I was kind of excited for this match. I thought Tigre Uno and Jay Rios had a chance, just from what happened earlier with the Revolution losing. And it didn't seem like they'd keep EC3 and Bram as a team for long. It didn't seem like they meshed well. I don't know. I was wrong, though. And, you know, EC3 and Bram did win. But it was a pretty good match. I still think Tigre Uno is kind of in limbo where they don't know what to do with him. So they're just going to kind of throw him in random matches at random times with random people. He's basically, you know, the Zack Ryder of TNA. They don't have anything to do with him, but, you know, they just kind of throw him out there occasionally for the excitement of the fans, you know, and then they take him away. It's what they do, pretty much. Basically.
We got some comments from our favorite fan ever, LB Clash of Kings. I don't even know how he gets here when we do. I did post on Twitter that we were going to start in like 15 minutes. I have no idea how he does it. He is here all the time, and I don't even see him here. It says 0, but now, wait, I'm so confused. But I will get to those at the end of the show.
Hey, LB Clash of Kings. Okay, I got a deal for you. If you get a tattoo of our logo on your arm, I will give you free tickets to our podcast every week. Free tickets, you're in. All right?
Free tickets? It's a free show.
Don't tell them that.
All right. So next we got Kurt Angle backstage, and he says, he's asked, what's up with EY and Homicide? He said, I caught a glimpse of the old EY, and I hope it comes out next week. And Homicide, he said, Homicide basically better have insurance. So basically, you know, fighting spirit, Kurt Angle. Any thoughts on Kurt Angle backstage, chilling, talking about EC3 and Homicide?
Not really. You know?
Yeah, all right. So next we got a Knockouts promo? We got Christy Hemme in the ring, and all the knockouts come out. She says, Christy Hemme says, we are proud to present the best women in the world. Next week we'll have TKO, Night of Knockouts. Angelina Love says, this night should be dedicated to me. Gail Kim says, no, it shouldn't. Everyone really wants you to shut up. It's all about them, talking about the fans. Me, obviously. And he says, and what they want and Destination America is giving us is, and Madison Rayne interrupts, and she says, we get it, you know, blah, blah, blah. You got title runs, and you're good, and you suck, and whatever, and they're fans. But you're not the queen bee of this division, basically. Christy comes back, and she says, there will be a 4-way #1 contenders match next week for the Knockout title. Brooke is very excited. She says, three-time Knockouts champion coming soon. Christy comes back and says, I know you're excited, Brooke, but we're going to have brand new Knockouts next week. Our main event will be for the Knockouts title. Hold. It's going to be Taryn Terrell versus Awesome Kong. And Taryn basically says she has a lot of passion. Kong comes out. Her and Taryn Terrell start to fight. They kind of break it up. The other knockouts kind of break it up. That just basically starts the brawl. And Taryn Terrell takes everybody out with her top rope splash. Or crossbody, I guess. Crossbodies, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, this is kind of interesting to me. The fact that it's not necessarily dedicated to knockouts. That I think for some reason TNA likes to have taglines for all their shows for some reason. But I do like that they're going to have the knockout title match as the main event, even though they're having a world title match next week. I think it kind of puts a little bit more importance to the knockout title, just a little bit, kind of just because it's going to be the main event. And I'm kind of excited. I feel like Awesome Kong's going to win, but I'm kind of excited. Any thoughts on the knockout promo thingamajigger bobber?
It just frustrates me because next week it's supposed to be TKO, total knockouts. But it's not going to be just all knockouts. There's going to be the World Heavyweight title match. There's probably going to be other matches. And on top of that, TNA only has, 10 knockouts, including the new ones?
It was only 5. It was only 5 out there tonight, I think. It was like 6 or something.
Yeah, but 5, and then you add Awesome Kong, that's 6, and then there's 3 more coming in. So that's 10 right there? Yeah, that's all they have. And I mean, they don't need to have a huge roster, but they just need to use them all equally and, get more talent in there. Which is why I'm hoping the new ones that come in are talented. I hope there's a good match there or something. It just frustrated me because, again, going back to watching Tough Enough, just even back in 2002, even the Divas division in WWE was so much better. It's crazy how bad women's wrestling has gotten in 10, 15 years. And it's sad. So I'm hoping something finally turns around. I'm not gonna hold my breath because if I do that, I'll die. But we can hope, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm holding out some hope, man. Next we got the Bro-Man backstage, and Jesse says, "You ready for our match tonight, bro?" Or actually, Robbie says, "You ready for our match tonight, bro?" Jesse comes back. He says, "How about you don't mess it up again?" Ayers and Rude catch Robbie, and they're like, "You're the better Bro-Man. You could think about being, world champion, Robbie E." They're kind of playing mind games with Robbie, getting into his head. But just kind of setting up the next match coming up. Any thoughts on this at all?
It was okay. I didn't like that I was 90% sure I knew who was going to win. That's the only thing I didn't like about it. But and just that added to it. But I wanted to see the match anyway,
All right. So next we got the Bro-Man versus Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. I like that Austin Aries came out without the case, just because it shows that he's focused on one particular thing tonight. If he comes out with the case, it makes it obvious that the Hardys are going to win. Even though we think the Hardys are going to win, it's just a nice touch for him to not come out with the case and not be worried about the world title tonight. But the Bro-Mans fight with themselves more so than they do with Roode and Aries. Aries hits the double sledge to start the match on the Bro-Man. Robbie E takes advantage, but Jesse tags himself in. The Bro-Mans just try to one-up each other for a little bit. Roode comes back with a neck breaker. Aries comes in. He takes out both Bro-Mans. Get a nice slingshot dropkick combo by Austin Aries. The Bro-Down attempt, but Roode pulls Robbie out to set up the suicide dive by Austin Aries. We'll get a spine buster, 450 splash, combination by Roode and Aries for the win. And the Bro-Mans, after the match, are kind of having it out, fighting a little bit. It kind of ensues into a more of a fight than just words. And DJZ looks to break it up. He kind of gets pushed away too, so think we're gonna see the end of the bromance, and if not the end of the bromance, it may be like DJZ teams up with one of them instead of them both being together. My thing is, if Robbie's the one breaking away, I don't know what they're gonna do with Robbie. They're gonna have to completely repackage him because I think he could be good. He's a talented guy, but I don't, I can only see him in this bromance gimmick for right now. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with that. I hope maybe they team Jesse and DJZ up because they looked really good when they teamed up a couple of weeks ago. You got any thoughts on this match and after that?
Even without the earlier backstage segment right before the match, right from the beginning, you could see the breakdown of the bromance. I kind of understood kind of them magnifying the miscommunication between the bromance, but it almost felt like it was too much, and it made it kind of seem like a bad match, almost like a jobber match. It was just way too easy for Rude and Aries, and I didn't like that. I do like if they are breaking up the bromance. I like that, but like you said, what are they gonna do with them if they really break up? I mean, I feel like Jesse's, he's physically, he's got it. He's okay in the ring, but he's so bland. I feel like he doesn't have a character, except for the guy that was on the reality show, which, that was the whole thing with Miz back in the day. It'll suck unless they completely repackage Robbie E and DJZ because, Robbie E, first of all, he kind of came in as this Robbie E character. It was kind of TNA's version of Zack Ryder, and he's been that character for so long. They're gonna need to completely repackage him along with DJZ, and I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if they can really repackage them enough to make it work. They may have dug themselves into a corner.
Yeah, I think DJZ would be fine though. He's already, he's won the X Division title without the DJZ gimmick. He could keep the DJZ gimmick, I think, and be fine. I just want to see more from him. I know he's freaking ridiculously talented, but doesn't get a lot of chances being with the bromance. So I don't think it would hurt him. And if nothing else, if they just teamed him up with Goddard and had that like power and speed combination thing, I don't think that would hurt at all with TNA. But next we got the Homicide Kurt Angle brawl/fight thingamabobber, and basically Homicide starts to run Kurt Angle into everything. He uses chairs and trash can lids to beat down Kurt Angle. He pushes the camera away. He says, mind your own business. We come back from commercial. They're still fighting. Angle starts to fight back. Homicide hits a cutter. He tries to hit Angle with his boot, but Angle reverses. He locks in the ankle lock. The BDC comes out and attacks. But then after a while, the Rising looks to help out. But that leaves MVP and Kurt Angle in the ring, maybe setting up, maybe foreshadowing a little bit with MVP and Kurt Angle a little bit later maybe. MVP is going for the chair shot, but EY jumps in, kind of teasing that he's going to turn back into the old EY. He grabs the chair. He teases the chair shot a little bit, but then he puts it down and leaves the ring. Any thoughts on Homicide and Kurt Angle, the fight / basically continuing a little bit of the Rising BDC thing as well?
Yeah. At first, I wasn't sure if this was supposed to be an official match or backstage brawl or what it was really supposed to be. But it was a good backstage brawl though. We don't really see that much anymore, which I miss. I felt like this kind of, like I was saying earlier, it reminded us of a side of Angle we really hadn't seen in a while. He can do more than just the in-ring, stuff. He can brawl. He can take a beating. He can do, hardcore kind of stuff. And after this, the BDC adding a fourth member kind of made sense just with, the the Rising coming out to help Angle, it made a little bit more sense there to me. But I'm excited to see what's going on with this, where they take it, especially with EY in there. What's going to go on. But I feel like it's going to be turned into a triple threat because we can't just have one-on-one matches for titles. You can't do that.
All right, so next we got a video package on the Ultimate X. And I like this because it was like one of my favorite TNA video packages ever because I love how they showed so many old clips of Ultimate X. It just made it seem even cooler that we were going to see it tonight. And then after that, we get a Dollhouse vignette, basically the same thing we saw last week. Any thoughts on those two things?
I like the video package for the Ultimate X match. The only thing I don't like is, again, like I was saying, on Destination America, they show like the best of matches, but they don't go past like 2010, and before 2010, 2009, 2008, those were all the great matches, especially like the X Division matches, with like AJ Styles, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, so many guys that they don't show those matches anymore. And it's like, why is there like a line right from 2010? It doesn't go any farther back. It's like they forgot what made them, which frustrates me. That those, especially the Ultimate X match. The Ultimate X match is what kind of, and the X Division is what kind of set them apart from WCW, from WWE, from Ring of Honor, from all those other companies, and got them to where they are today. And it's like they forget about that, and that's why they're stuck where they are. But it kind of got us excited for the Ultimate X match, and the Dollhouse. It's still confusing me because I just want to see the debut to see what we're getting. Like, I don't understand. Are they crazy, or is it just what's going on?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Next we get Josh Matthews in the studio, basically setting up the main event, and looking towards next week. I seeing these type of things kind of, it makes me like the studio thing because, it's a different type of thing. But then again, one thing I don't like about it being in the studio is it doesn't feel like they can react to it live, to me personally, not being out there, out there next to the ring and stuff like that. That's really the only thing I don't like about it, because I mean it's a nice, unique concept, I guess, but that's my only issue with it is it just doesn't feel like they can react live to things like they could. I mean, you're gonna see it if they're only seeing it for the first time, and then they still can react to it live, but it's just not the same to me. And then after that, we got a video package on the Night of Knockouts coming next week. Kind of showed some footage, but it kind of looks like they showed some footage from older matches more so than the ones next week. Any thoughts on that at all? Those two things.
I don't like this studio thing. It was kind of cool when it first started, but there's too much of a disconnect. You need the announcers out there, even if they're not right ringside, even if like they used to have, it was up the ramp and to the side where the announce table, kind of where, the opposite side, but basically where NXT's announcers are. But it was still out there. It was still live. They could still react. They could be involved in the storyline somehow. There's too much of a disconnect there. And I love you, Josh, but you made Taz run away. He couldn't handle you again. He already dealt with you in Tough Enough 1. He couldn't deal with you again. He couldn't. I'm sure we'll have a video on Taz's leaving TNA because of Josh Matthews, I'm sure. But yeah, that's the only. I don't like it anymore. And I mean, I guess it could save them money, I guess, not having them at least travel around as much, not having to, bring a announce table everywhere, not having to at least set that up all the time. Even though they've been in Florida for the past couple weeks now, so it's not like they move around a lot. But it takes too much away from it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So next we got the main event of the evening. It's for the tag team title, the Show Coin Tag Team Gold. So yeah, it's obvious, right? So next we got the Hardys versus the BDC versus EC3 and Bram versus Austin Aries and Bobby Roode in an Ultimate X match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. That was a lot to say. If this is one of your favorite matches, do you want to take this match?
Yeah, sure. I didn't write too much about it, but I'll take it. Why not? Like you said, we had the Hardys versus the BDC versus EC3 and Bram versus Aries and Roode. Hold on. Need to take a breather. Whew. First of all, when I looked at the time left in the show at this point, I was like, how pathetically short is this match going to be? Especially for an Ultimate X match. You have to at least have, 20 minutes in this match because, there's so many spots they could do. I would love, also another side note, I would love to have seen the Hardys in an Ultimate X match back in their prime. That would have been awesome. But there was a point in the match where it was EC3 and Bram in the ring, and EC3 apparently can't climb because of his brace, because of an injury to his elbow, which apparently is never going to heal. He's just going to wear that brace all the time. So he gets a ladder. Of course, the Hardys are in the match, so you have to have a ladder, even though it's an Ultimate X match. You have to have a ladder. And also, was it just me, or was it kind of hard to see the ladder when they kind of propped it up against the turnbuckle? Because the ladder's black, the turnbuckle's black, the background of the arena was mostly black, so I was like, you can barely see the ladder at all when it's there. That just was weird. They didn't even have the TNA sticker on the side, so it was like, where's the ladder? Oh, there it is. There was a couple times in the match where first Aries was on Roode's shoulders, kind of walking over to the belts, and they had a lot of time to get to the titles, and just didn't, they oversold the stop, and I was like, no. And then there was a point where the ladder was set up and Low Key was on it and had a lot of time to get to the titles, but he waited for Matt to climb up and stop him, and it just didn't seem right. Obviously, they were letting the Hardys win, and the Hardys are getting older, so they're not, unfortunately, as limber and as fast as they used to be. So you kind of got to slow it down for them a little bit. But those spots it was too weird. You could see it was just the sell wasn't right. Either Low Key needed to kind of struggle up the ladder a little bit more, or they needed to not have Aries, on Roode's shoulders so quick getting to the titles. It just didn't seem right. But it was a good match. Like I said, I felt like it should have been longer than what it was. But there needed to be a little bit more, kind of exciting spots in the match, because there wasn't really that many exciting spots that we're used to in Ultimate X matches, or at least that we were used to. There used to be at least one or two really crazy falls, or just kind of crazy stunts and whatever, and it doesn't seem like they do that anymore. But the Hardys win. They finally are the TNA Tag Team Champions, which is good. They finally are getting their title run, however short or long it is. But yeah.
Yeah, my only issue with this match, I thought it was good, and I thought the ladder stuff that they did was good. But my only issue was the so much use of the ladder. Like that's why the cables are there, like to get across to the thing. Like it's like for heels, yeah, the ladder's there for heels. For EC3 and Bram, the ladder's there. But like it didn't make sense to me for like Matt. The only reason Matt should have been using it is when he was trying to go up there to get low key. I don't feel like the Hardys should have like used it to win the match either. Like they kind of used. I felt like the ladder was used too much in this match. As far as to get to the belts, I felt like it turned into a little bit of a ladder match, and that's why we didn't see as many of those crazy spots as we usually do. I know Jeff took a ridiculous fall, like always, but you know, I thought it was a good match. That was my only issue with the use of the ladder so much. You know, there were some good things. The Tyrus shaking the entire beam thing just looked ridiculous. Like I was like, what? How? Like the thing was like the ring was shaking. I was like, how? What is? What? What did you think of that? Like,
I was thinking maybe that's why they actually weren't using the cables, because they made it so it looked like he could shake it. So it obviously wasn't, you know, as supportive as usual. So that's maybe why they, but that spot didn't need to be there. They could have, you know, done without that and had a better match with the cables and everything, you know, like an Ultimate X is supposed to be. It felt like they just could have made this a regular ladder match, and it, you know, it would have made more sense.
Yeah, those were the actual big falls of the match when he shook the thing, when the guys fell off of there. Those were the only really big falls. But you know, I thought it was a good match, and it was a good main event. Anytime Ultimate X is around, I think it's cool. I'm hoping whenever they do their first pay-per-view, maybe they have a Ultimate X match, because I don't know when their first pay-per-view is going to be, and we're already in April. So getting a little long in the year now. We're already halfway through April too.
Yeah.
So, you know, let me get to these comments by LB and see what he said. He said, "I'm so excited for TKO episodes next, the Night of Knockouts episode next week." He says, "But one thing that confuses him is the EY versus Kurt match." Yeah, it makes sense. He said, but I still guess that EY is considered a knockout, considering he's a former TNA Knockouts Tag Champion. Way to point that out. That's a good one. He said most of the matches flowed smoothly. He said he didn't see any botches. He said he just wished they would have acknowledged Jay Rios making his debut this week. I think you hit that on the head with, I don't know if he was known as Jay Rios before, but maybe because he had wrestled before. Sometimes they do note that he wrestled before, but they didn't really say anything tonight, which was weird. And maybe it was because Josh Matthews was all alone. He was like, I don't know what to do. But he says he likes Low-Key and Kenny King's character development. They're getting better with their promos and backstage segments and such. He says, and Spud, his boy, could kick both Kenny King and Low-Key in the butt in a three-way match for the X Division title. He said he's a Spud fan, and he approves this message. He also says he likes TNA this week, and he was live tweeting during the show. One more thing, you know, we got subscribers. I want to shout them out real quick. Newer people, Kylie Price, thank you so much, buddy. Love you, man. Akahuna, I don't know how to pronounce your name, and I'm not gonna say your last name because I couldn't even pronounce your first name. So I'm gonna, you know, my boy, Big A, you the man, bro, you the man. Michael plays HD Minecraft. Seems like he plays some HD Minecraft or something. So go check out his channel. And William Zimmers, thank you guys for subscribing and being a part. Please, guys, follow the podcast Twitter. I actually tweet some things out now. Like, you know, it's Casey pointed out. I actually tweet some things out now because I try my best. Like the breaking news when Taz quit, I definitely tweeted that out. So we're gonna have a video on that soon. I talked about the TNA review coming up soon. So, you know, feel free to follow that. That's where the good stuff happens. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys later.